everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, November 7th, 2021. Now introducing Phyllis and Nick's TV dinner breakup. No time to wait for the oven to heat up. Just pop these two into the microwave and they'll be done in no time. We've got Phyllis and Nick in the main compartment of the TV dinner, and then we've got a side of Jack and beans and a Sharon cobbler for dessert. What do you think about that? I think it's crazy. This is crazy. Where did all of this come from? I don't debate that Phyllis and Nick have legitimate relationship issues. I'm just shocked by how fast it's all gone down. I'm shocked that they have gone from happy and carefree to completely broken up in just a matter of weeks. I don't know what to think about it all. What do you think about it all? Phyllis and Nick, do they need to fix it or forget it? Just forget it. That's our poll question this week at yrchat.com. Phyllis and Nick, fix it or forget it? Oh, I want him to fix it. I can't help myself. I want him to fix it, but I have no idea if there's any hope for that. I'm asking myself, is this all a fake out? Are Phyllis and Nick just going to be back together next week? It seemed toward the end of this week that they were floundering a little bit and maybe missing each other and thinking about making up, or I don't know, maybe they won't. Maybe this is just it for now. I was so confused by Wednesday's episode. I don't know if I was the only one, but Phyllis and Nick had started an argument on Monday's episode, and then we didn't see them at all on Tuesday. And then we picked back up with them on Wednesday after a big argument had happened, and we were having all of these flashbacks to an argument that happened. And the flashbacks were strange because they were from the character's perspective. Usually we're watching things in a third person perspective, but we were seeing Phyllis see Nick, and we were seeing Nick see Phyllis. And they were telling the tale of this argument to their future partners, Jack and Sharon. But it was so off-putting to me. I kept thinking, wait a minute, that never happened. I mean, they're talking about this big argument that they had, and I'm thinking, I don't remember that happening. Are Phyllis and Nick just not listening to each other? I thought maybe it was just a very artful way of showing that these two are only hearing what they wanted to hear. But no, by the time we got to the end of the Wednesday episode, we went back to the third person so that we could actually see the argument that happened from the outside perspective. And then it all started to make sense. But man, I was stumped. I'm still stumped. I kind of thought that Nick and Phyllis were going to last this time, and I guess they did. I mean, they were together for over a year this time, although a lot of that was COVID time. We were in flashbacks, and it just seemed like Y&R really loved them as a couple. They were getting so much screen time, and it was so easy and so fun, and they just seemed like such a perfect match. I guess that's the death nail for a soap opera couple, right? I mean, you get to achieve your ultimate happiness, and then you ultimately must be torn apart. I guess there was a part of me, though, that assumed there might be wedding bells in the future for Phyllis and Nick. In fact, last week when Nick set up that surprise breakfast in Phyllis's room, I half expected that there would be a ring under one of those silver-covered plates. But boy, I was wrong. I was really wrong. Oh, well, there's one thing that I was not wrong about. I was right that it seems like we're headed right back to a Nick and Sharon romance. Jack and Phyllis has been pretty easy to see for the past couple of weeks, but there really hasn't been a ton of indication that Nick and Sharon might be drifting back to each other until this week. Wasn't Noah deft at suggesting that maybe Nick just never got over Sharon? Yeah, that's right. That's true. I think it's time somebody said it. Even though there's been absolutely no prior indication of that whatsoever for years and years. But this week, there it is. And maybe it's natural that Noah assumes that, since Phyllis is the reason that his happy family was broken up in the first place. But I liked the suggestion, and if the end game for all of this is a Nick and Sharon reunion, I guess I can't complain too much. And, I mean, we had speculated immediately when Noah returned to Genoa City that he might be a bonding force for Nick and Sharon. And here we are. I mean, Nick and Sharon and Noah sitting around in the living room talking about life and love and all of the important things. Why wasn't Faith in that scene, by the way? I realize that she's a teen and maybe that conversation would have gone over her head, but I also feel like, hey, if we're supposed to be taking Faith seriously, then that would have been the perfect place to start folding her into an adult conversation. I know she's not an adult, but why cast the role of Faith? Why recast the role of Faith if we're not actually going to use her? I think Y&R should have at least maybe trotted Faith in for a couple of lines at the end of that family scene instead of just always sticking Faith off on an island with Moses and only Moses. Adam arranges for Victor's PI to make a fake phone call all about Jesse Gaines and how he's on the loose right in front of Billy. Adam arranged for that phone call to take place right in front of Billy, hoping that Billy will take the bait, which he does. The very next thing you know, Gaines is showing up at Billy and Lily's doorstep looking like he dropped his watch and his wedding ring in a bombing in Spain. He went from Italy to Spain and walked right into a bombing. Whoops, is that my ring and my watch? And that's what really it all is. That ring and that watch that Christine found belongs to Jesse Gaines. That's my theory. That'd be a twist. Well, Gaines gives his version of events on everything that happened to him since we last saw him in the wine cellar. He said that he found a way to escape the Newman security goons. He hopped on a cargo plane. He snuck his way onto a cargo plane to the States, then hopped a train to Chicago like a hobo. All he would need was fingerless gloves. I'm just imagining him like a dirty hobo, and it's with his spindle and his bindle and his fingerless gloves like a hobo. Clever disguise, Monsieur Gaines. Clever disguise. Oh, but now he's back in good old Genoa City. And he's claiming to Billy that he wants to tell his story. And this time it's not just about Ashland Locke. No. He wants to expose Victor Newman and Adam Newman too. Well, Isn't that just music tailor-made for Billy's ears? Oh, he should be suspicious. Yes, he should be suspicious. Lily seems to be very suspicious. Lily is not having it. As soon as Billy gains all tucked in to bed in his own little hotel room, Lily tells Billy that she thinks this is all a bad idea. Something doesn't feel right. And she also calls him out and checks him, saying, you shouldn't be pursuing this out of your own ego, so it were. Lily is in the business of running this media company, not in the business of getting revenge on Victor and Adam, which Billy can't really deny that that's what he wants. Lily thinks that Billy should just go to Victoria, and this will all work itself out. If something's fishy going on, then Victoria will tell Billy about it. But no, after Billy, brought a blackmailer to Victoria's wedding, I wouldn't count on her to protect him. Adam stops by Newman Enterprises to personally let Ashland know that the booby trap for Billy has been set. But Adam runs into Victoria instead, and that's the more interesting part. It almost feels as if Nick has flipped his switch to the off position when it comes to Adam, and at the same time, maybe Nikki and Victoria are flipping their switch to the on position toward Adam. Just a little bit, maybe it's more of a dimmer switch. And Nikki and Victoria have just ever so slightly cranked the dimmer switch to the right when it comes to Adam. They both seem more tolerant of him, just a little bit, and in an entertaining way. I think that's the magic formula right there when it comes to the Newman family dynamics. They're entertainingly tolerant of Adam. Nick got to do it for a while. I really kind of enjoyed that when Nick and Adam were being buds, and it was a little bit of an odd couple pairing. But now it really kind of seems like it's Nikki and Victoria's turn. There's some conversations happening there, at least. And also, conversations happening between Victoria and her other brother this week. Victoria and Nick made some peace, which I was glad to see. Everybody aired their feelings on the topic, and got it all out, and maybe it's not perfect at this point. The trust is not fully restored at this point, but I think that Victoria and Nick make better friends than enemies. But it seems like Nick is cooking up a new enemy these days. It's Adam and Victor. I think Nick is still very interested in what Victor and Adam are doing. Nick suddenly realizes that he's on the outside looking in to this family, and that's usually a position that's occupied by Adam. Now it's not so much the case. Adam even said to Nikki on Friday, they kind of were talking, and it was making sense, and they were vibing a little bit. And then, Nikki recoiled a little bit and was not really able to fully let herself trust Adam and the fact that he's changed. And Adam had this great line saying, "Everything I do, I get criticized, analyzed, and doubted." And I thought, oh, yeah, that's true. And maybe now that's what is happening to Nick. Maybe that's what's going to start happening to Nick. Maybe we're going to see that table turn a little bit. I wonder if Nick is going to continue to try to force his way onto the inside of the family, and join in the reindeer games and continue to just be angry that he's not in it right now. Or maybe Nick will end up joining forces with Billy. Maybe Nick will give Billy some kind of hot tip about what Adam and Victor are plotting. Yeah. Either way, I think you can officially count Victoria out of the action. Victoria doesn't want to know a thing about Adam and Victor's crushed Billy Abbott plan. Victoria is all about Ashland these days. And of course, she cares about getting Ashland to Peru to get him this miracle cancer cure that is available only to the rich and powerful while the rest of us peasants suffer. That was pretty spooky how Abby teleported around town in a dream this week. It was like a real white lights, alien abduction kind of situation going on there. But at least we now know the real truth about what happened to Chance Chancellor. He was abducted by aliens. Thank goodness we cleared that up. Yeah. I loved that episode where Abby dreamt that she visited all of the Genoa City hotspots while talking and crying into her phone. That was pretty special, let me tell you. All of that emotion right into the phone. Where's the Emmy? Hand it over. Oh, well. Christine got on the phone this week, too. She shuffled back to, where is it, Washington, D.C.? Is that where Christine resides these days? But she makes a phone call from the car to tell Nina that her son is dead. And Nina comes rushing back to Genoa City, and Nina throws herself into Abby's arms and receives some support from her two old pals, Victor and Ashley. I wonder really what Nina's reaction to all of this is going to be. We got her shock. We got her being numb. But I wonder, does Nina still hold out some hope that Chance is still alive? I think Nina's reaction to all of this, when we hear from her, presumably next week, at least I hope so, I think Nina's reaction may inform how Abby feels moving forward. I think that if Nina believes that it's true that Chance is dead, then maybe Abby might start to believe it too. If Nina continues to hold out hope that Chance is alive, then that will probably make Abby continue on her current path. Because in the previews for next week, Abby is saying that she plans to go to Spain to look for clues about what happened to Chance. And I don't know, somehow I just don't think that's going to happen. And unless they're going to send the actress away for a week and bring her back and do a recast or something. But my gut tells me no recast, no nothing. My gut tells me that maybe Nina is going to end up talking Abby out of going to Spain and maybe helping Abby settle into some form of acceptance about it all. Because the real drama is in Genoa City. The real drama is in the fallout of Chance's death, I would think. Abby continuing to spiral out in her grief is where I would imagine the drama would be, and the support coming from Devon, and maybe the pressure coming from Mariah. Yeah, Sharon steps in this week to give Abby some impromptu, unwanted grief counseling. Oh, I just found out today that my husband is dead. Sure, Sharon, come on in, have a seat. Let's talk about it. Isn't it great how Sharon quietly became the town therapist? The unofficial town therapist. I mean, Sharon went from fire starter to saint in the span of about 5 years, I would say. And now she just shows up wherever there is trauma, wherever there is a talking that needs to be happen. At the drop of a hat, she's there. She's on call. It's like you throw up the Sharon signal, like it's the bat signal in the sky, and boom, Sharon's there to talk it out with you. Unless you're Mariah, though, right? Everybody but her own daughter, Mariah, who needs it most, arguably. Mariah admits to Tessa this week that she feels she's the one who can best take care of Dominic right now. Everybody else is kind of doing that half job. Mariah's the one that has the actual bond with the baby, and Mariah also admits to Tessa that she wishes deep down that Dominic were her son, which means I think on a level Mariah kind of feels like Dominic is her son. I mean, I think the audience suspected that. I mean, again, we're third person. We've seen all the signs, the warning signs. But I think it was very shocking to Tessa to hear it. Tessa's just watching her partner slip further and further away. And I wonder if maybe you guys who were theorizing that Mariah could sue for custody are right. Maybe Mariah will sue for custody. Maybe she will be putting some pressure on Abby in the midst of her grief. And if Mariah does do that, I don't think Tessa will support her. Tessa has a bird's eye view of the situation that Mariah lacks. I think Mariah is just too close to it all. She's too emotionally tied to it all. I mean, if you think about it, she's still probably hanging on to feelings that it's Abby's fault that she and the baby got kidnapped by Stitch. And then you add postpartum depression and you add her PTSD. I think Mariah is not objective, whereas I think Tessa is seeing the situation for what the audience is seeing and kind of validating what the audience is seeing. I think Tessa can see that Abby, at this point in time, seems perfectly capable of caring for her son, or at least making sure that her son is taken care of while grieving her dead, not dead husband. Devon is stepping in to provide major support. Devon is a major support pillar for Abby and for Dominic right now. Devon seems almost to be the family's preferred support person, in fact. But the fact is, Devon is no less close to the situation than Mariah is. Devon's bond to Dominic is different, but it's no less significant than Mariah's. In fact, it's probably more on some level. I mean, when Devon looks at this baby, his own eyes may be very well looking back at him. And Devon admits to Dr. Sharon this week that he's flooded with feelings about the child that he and Hillary lost. Devon is flooded with feelings and imaginations of all of the time that he missed with the child he would have had with Hillary, and he's thinking of all of the lost opportunity there. And so Devon's not a neutral party. He is both biologically connected to the child, but also he has this emotional hole that maybe he's trying to fill. And on top of it, we were also reminded that Devon has lost a spouse too. It's just another way that Devon is the ideal support person for Abby right now. But that does not actually make him the best support person for Abby right now. You know, I will say I felt some irritation toward Devon this week. He was having this conversation with Victor, okay? And Devon lost it. Devon was just flaming on Chance, going on at length about how irresponsible it was for Chance to get married and have a baby and then have the nerve to go off and die. And I thought, okay, Devon, I agree with you that Chance never should have left, but it's not your call to make, and you can't go ripping into a dead guy a couple of, days after you've all found out that he's gone? That's totally inappropriate. How about having some sympathy for Chance, the dead guy? Chance was not an evil villain who everyone is glad is dead. Chance was an overall good guy. I'm sorry, Devon, that you seem to have some anger issues over the whole thing, but have some respect and call a moratorium on the bad-mouthing of the dead guy to his family. You've got your issues, too, that are factoring into this, Devon. You're not neutral, Devon. Yeah, it's like sometimes Devon gets so high up there riding on his high horse, and no one ever questions him. Sometimes I think is it because he's a billionaire? Why is everybody so nice to Devon? Is it just because he's a billionaire? I don't know. He was annoying me this week. It annoys me that Devon is so undisputed. He's Saint Devon, and normally I have loved that. I've loved that about him, but this week he just was bugging me, and I wanted to see someone jump in there and challenge him and knock him down a peg or two, mouthing off to Victor like that about Victor's son-in-law. How about spending a little more time with Amanda and a little less time with Abby, Devon? How about giving a little more support to Amanda and a little less support to Abby, Devon? One of these times is going to be too many times that Devon has rushed off to Abby's assistance. Amanda is being real cool with it all for now, but for how long is she going to be real cool with it all? Well, while Amanda was home alone again, she had a surprise visit from Sutton. And it was actually a pretty big surprise. I never thought we'd see him again. He just sauntered up to the penthouse, just came knocking at the door, pleading with Amanda to not testify against him, to think about what this would do to Naya and Amani, and to ask for mercy for an old man who doesn't want to spend the rest of his life in prison. But the icing on the cake was that he was wearing a wire. Or he had a recording device. Wearing a wire sounds better, though. Fine, he was wearing a recording device. He was hoping that he would catch Amanda saying something that would make her seem like she had just a personal vendetta against him, and that would discredit the testimony that she plans to give in court. Well, bad move, Sutton. Amanda saw right through it. Maybe he should have tried catching that fly with a little bit of honey. Sutton never once said, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry I killed your dad and set you on a path of foster care for your entire life." I mean, he never even once denied killing her father. So it's almost this given. He just knows he did it. Everybody knows he did it, and it's only a matter of whether or not he'll be convicted. I guess the idea is, yeah, I killed your father a couple of decades ago. What are you gonna do about it now? Well, Amanda's going to testify against him, and it looks like next week she's gearing up for it, and now she is more determined than ever. I just hope that this decision doesn't end up putting her in harm's way. Lies, manipulation, deception, treachery. Am I missing anything? Lies, manipulation, deception, treachery. Am I missing anything? That was our Who Said It quote from last week, and the answer was Billy. He was warning Sally about her boss, Adam. Lies, manipulation, deception, and treachery, the keystones of Adam Newman. Oh gosh, I thought that was a really good quote, and I'm surprised that only a few people guessed it. Big congrats to Henry, Tina, Keisha, Brittany, Daisy, Doreen, Marianne V, and Sue W. I thought way more people would have caught on to that. It just seemed like such a rich line. So soapy. Well, let's see if you guys can guess this one. I'm not going to turn into a Zen master overnight. I like that. A Zen master. I'm not going to turn into a Zen master overnight. Who said it? If you think you know, then you should go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. Here is a very special birthday shout out to Colleen, whose birthday is coming up this next Saturday, or November 13th. Y&R Chatter Colleen will be celebrating her birthday. Now, Colleen, I think, is one of our very strong storyline predictors for the year, right? So once we get to the end of the year, we usually talk about what our predictions will be for the upcoming year. And Colleen is really exceptionally good at it. She just seems to have a gift for predicting storyline futures. So Colleen, what do you predict for Abby's future? Is it to continue to have a dead husband, or is Chance going to be coming back? Well, on to your comments. I have a ton of them because, of course, I think you guys are the best of them all. You guys really, I think you're better at this than I am at this point. Let's start with Superplex, who says, I'm glad they're starting to breathe new life into Abby. That woe is me act got tiresome very fast, and it's good to see that the writers quickly realized there was just so much more we viewers can put up with watching Abby wail helplessly from one episode to the next. It's about time this character got some gumption and lifted herself up by the bootstraps and prove her doubting Thomas is wrong. No more depending on Daddy and Devon. Chance Chancellor is alive and well, and well, Josh darn it, if I have to go to Valencia, Spain in this cold and chilly Wisconsin autumn just to show them, then so be it. You go, Abby. Awesome. So Superplex is rooting for Abby to go to Spain and bring back Chance Chancellor. Yes, I know a lot seems to be weighted on that casting note, that it does seem like they cast someone who does, I'll admit, look an awfully lot like Chance. And then, of course, we had that little party, that little thing from Amelia Heinley's Instagram or whatever, where it seemed like they were having some type of party for Chance. We will just have to see. I mean, I think, Y&R never comments on their contracts or anything like that. So I think at this point, mostly rumor. But I tell you, if Chance does get recast and shows his face, then I will be shocked. I really will be shocked, and I'll welcome it. I will absolutely welcome it. Ellen says, I have compassion for Abby and all she's been through. This should be a joyful time in her life with her newborn. Instead, it's been nothing but chaos with kidnapping and Stitch's messy feelings, Chance's prolonged absence, Mariah's trauma and separation issues, and now Chance's presumed death. For some reason, many fans have little empathy for Abby and love to drag the character down on social media. Maybe if Danny the Donnie Bose hadn't gotten himself fired, we could have had a different story, but that's not Melissa Ordway's fault, and that weird fake baby. Come on, Y&R, give Abby a real baby to hold. I guess we're in for more of this angst until a new Chance bursts in on Abby and Devon making out in a Chancellor drawing room. Yeah, no kidding. So you think the majority of fans don't empathize with Abby? I don't know, because I only know what the Y&R chatters say, and it seems like most, well, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's kind of split. But yeah, I think if you go out into the larger Young and the Restless fan base, probably every character is getting dragged. But I haven't noticed it specifically within Y&R chat. But yeah, I have also compassion for Abby, and I think you're right, that if what went down with Danny the Donnie hadn't happened, we would be in a very different story right now. I think a lot of this was Y&R trying to shimmy their way backwards from whatever the bad situation was that happened with him. And I agree, Melissa Ordway and the character of Abby was kind of a victim of that. Certainly not the actress or the character's fault. Sue W. says, I too feel for Abby. She could be throwing a why does this happen to me tantrum and wallowing, and during so many other times, such as Chance's leaving or Mariah's kidnapping, but she rightfully prioritizes being a mindful mother, all while trying to support others and keep it together herself. I don't know why fans rag on Abby. I don't know about other social media, but it always seemed that many chatters aren't a fan. But I gotta believe the actress has a strong fan base. I think Melissa Ordway always does a fantastic job playing Abby, changing out to looks and emotions. And I've said before, when a character elicits a passionate viewer response, positive or negative, it's a testament to how well that actor brings the character to life. I'm a fan of both in this case. Yeah, I think maybe I've had some points where I had trouble adjusting to Melissa Ordway, no doubt about it. But I haven't really thought about that, honestly, in probably the past year or two. I've definitely settled into the fact that she is Abby. I don't have any negative feelings toward her right now. I don't necessarily feel that she's handled any of the situation terribly poorly. I mean, yeah, I probably would not have chosen Devon and Mariah. I would not have chosen friends necessarily to get involved in this surrogacy thing with, but at the end of the day, I think Abby does care about them. I think she does see them as friends, and I think that she shouldn't be accused of not taking care of her baby just because she is grieving her husband or wanting more information on her husband. I don't think any of this adds up to Abby not being a mindful mother. I think it sounds like she's, they've established that the child has a nanny. Like, I mean, kids get born into a lot worse situations. If Abby is not able to fully focus on just her son right now, I believe she has put some placeholders in so that the child does get care. I mean, that child's not neglected in any way, shape, or form, and anyone who implies that, I think is crazy. Sandra says, I like Abby and I enjoy Melissa Ordway a lot. I think she's the most beautiful actress on Y&R. I feel bad that she's stuck acting out scenes like the one in her dream sequence and that the character's constantly made to fail in her love life. This should be the most happy time in all of Abby's life. I think the writers, regardless of what went down with Donnie Boaz, did a horrific job with the surrogacy storyline. Yeah, I don't think anything that's happened really falls on the character of Abby or Melissa Ordway. Maybe what Sue and Ellen are saying, too, is a lot of in response to that single episode. It wasn't a great episode. The Abby walking around town talking to her phone episode was not a good episode. That doesn't have anything to do with the character of Abby or the actress. It's fully on the writers. Like, I mean, I know they're wanting to touch into that emotional core for Abby's grief here, and this was the best way that they could do it. I mean, they've had Abby talking to her phone all this time. She's been making these video calls. I haven't connected with any of that. It's just the chance piece of it is what's bad and wrong. Abby should, by all rights, be in the happiest time of her life. Abby is a character who has lost love more than probably most of the other current characters on the canvas. I mean, this girl has not gotten a break. Every single marriage and relationship that she's gotten into ended very quickly and very badly. Abby really didn't get her happy ever after, and she's not getting it now. She never got her happy ever after before, and she's not getting it now. Gary says, Abby's not my favorite character on the show, but she's nice and she's kind, and that counts for a lot. Example, Thursday's show had Abby with the hoverers, not interested in having a cup of tea, and she throws them all out wanting to be alone. In her next breath, she feels bad for raising her voice and says they can all stay. And also, she makes a nice bride. Yeah, Abby's not my favorite character, no doubt about that. But I do think that she deserves some consideration. I think she deserves to have some happiness. Darn it. Yeah. Oh, let's keep moving here. Oh, Diana this is a great point. Here's the point that Diana brings to us that we have got to consider. Diana says, Y&R must hate that they can never use any flashbacks of Abby and Chance. Abby's whole dream sequence. We never see Chance and all of his promises to Abby. We don't even hear his voice. I'm surprised that Y&R didn't try and use another actor's voice that sounds similar to Chance with the southern accent. just hearing Abby talk about Chance and their relationship is not very exciting to me. It's become so redundant and boring hearing Abby and all the other characters constantly talking about Chance, the guy we never see. Exactly. The full problem is with the Chance character and what the writers chose to do with the Chance character, and Diana makes the greatest point. They can't use any flashbacks. I don't know why. There must be something having to do with the contracts, but the reason we got Abby talking into her phone and just telling us about this history between her and Chance is because they can't use the flashbacks. That would have made a huge difference. And we just couldn't do it for one reason or another. It's like, what a dud that Y&R has just continued to try to work with this. I mean, I guess maybe they deserve some credit for trying. They have tried to keep the Chance character going for a year, despite the fact that there's no actor playing the role. I guess maybe they could be commended for that, but I just don't know why they didn't drop it. I think they needed to drop it and they needed to move Abby into something else. It's almost just like they were stuck. They just could not pivot. They knew they wanted to do the surrogacy storyline. They knew they wanted this Chancellor Abbott Newman baby, and they just could not move away from that. They just had to find a way to get that done, come hell or high water. But you're right. There's an emotional absence here. I mean, you can't. It's a fully one-sided relationship that gets so much screen time. It's always there. I mean, Abby and her missing of Chance is there. It's been there for nearly a year now at this point, and without having a person to play that role, making that emotional connection has just made it harder and harder, and you can't swap out a person for a phone. Yet there they went. Superplex says the fact that Donnie Bowes was not included in the flashback is a possible indication that Chance is coming back. If Chance was not returning, then the producers were free to use old footage of Donnie in the flashback sequences. If, however, a new actor was cast as Chance, then not only were they excluded from the possibility of using him in the flashbacks, but that would reveal a secret that they would not utilize old scenes of Donnie as well. Oh, okay, so you're interpreting the lack of flashback as being a possible indicator that they don't want to go too far getting you invested or reinvested in the Donnie version because they're going to be bringing on a new version. It's certainly possible. I wonder if the majority of people felt that was an effective episode, yes or no. Go to the website, go to yrchat.com this week. Tell me, did you like that Abby episode? They're trying. Bless their hearts, they're trying. For what reason? Maybe it is a recast. Because otherwise, I just don't know. To me, it was not a good episode. It was not an effective episode. It was just very weird. I know I'm not a phone person. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just me and my personality. I don't have a phone. So maybe just seeing Abby walking around talking to a phone didn't connect with me as a viewer for that reason, because I'm a weirdo. But maybe you guys liked it. I'm not sure. I'm kind of guessing maybe people did not love that. But again, I don't think that's not a reflection on the character or the actress. I think probably everybody wants to love Abby and actually wants to see something better and more for her. Happiness would have been probably what we would have wanted to see for her, if only temporarily. Of course, we know characters can't be happy forever. We don't just want to watch characters being happy, but I think letting her be happy for an instant might have been nice. Sherrod loved the ending montage of the Abby episode, especially with Sharon remembering Cassie. Not gonna lie, it brought a little tear to my eye, says Sherrod. Yeah, I was surprised that we had the moment of Sharon thinking of Cassie. It seemed a little out of place to me. Not that she wouldn't. It just doesn't seem like Y&R has focused on that all that much recently. So I was just like, oh, okay, they're taking it there. And I realize now that maybe Sharon thinking of Cassie and the Y&R taking the time to show us Sharon thinking of Cassie is really more about Sharon thinking of Nick in the near future. That was there as a little bridge to not only just Sharon thinking of her daughter, of course, but that thought of Cassie is naturally going to lead to Nick, and clearly we're kind of moving in a Nick and Sharon direction. Well, let's talk about all that. T. Nicole says, Phyllis doesn't have to like Nick's family, and she's got good reason to never forgive Victor for the Marco situation. But when Phyllis is around them, for the most part, she will be civil for Nick's benefit. The problem was Nick being sucked into the family drama that she wants no part in. Nick complains about his dad, Adam, and Victoria to Phyllis. How's she supposed to respond? If she agrees with him, then Nick gets mad, but let's say she defends his family to him, and then he would get mad at her for not having his side. Well, what does Nick want from her? I also don't blame Phyllis for being upset with Nick for being distracted during Summer and Kyle's wedding. Phyllis can see he's putting his feud with his family over being 100% present at his daughter's wedding. I can see, he basically abandoned her in Italy because he was so upset that he was not involved in the Newman family drama. If Nick can only see that being left out of the family drama is a good thing overall, it only causes more stress. Victoria chose to marry Ashland. Just let it be, Nick. Oh, but Ellen says, family relationships are complicated, Phyllis. Grow up. But it's very understandable that you would never want to be in the same room with Victor again. If that's a deal breaker, why'd you ever get involved with Nick again? It's time to end it. You're right. Oh, well, Elizabeth says what's possibly going to happen is that Nick and Phyllis are going to break up. Maybe Sally will share her little photo collection of Phyllis and Jack with Nick. Would some fireworks between her and Sally if that happened? And then maybe Sally would make a play for Nick? Oh, yeah. And Sue W. says, I've randomly thrown this out here before, and I'm still thinking I'd love to see Sally and Nick hook up. Just a one-time thing would be fine. Not for any reason other than adding more soapy drama to the mix and maybe some heads exploding. The more mess, the better. Like if Sally getting jerked around by Adam and then Nick's PO'd at Phyllis and then they drown their sorrows together while Jack watches. Just putting it out there. Yeah! Okay, so Nick, Sally, and Adam. A little triangle there. That could be, and you know what? That would certainly add fuel to the Phyllis and Sally feud. It would also add fuel to the Nick and Adam rivalry that clearly is being built right now. Yeah. Superplex says, following the Nick and Adam relationship is liable to give you a case of whiplash. Nick started out hating Adam. Then, when Adam was arrested for Constance's murder, they reconciled. Then, it was back to hate. Then, Adam saved Nick's life in the farmhouse, and it was back to liking. Now it's hate again. Make up your mind, Nick. I know, I'm kind of sad to see that go. I really liked Adam and Nick being buds. Honestly, I think I'd rather see Nick and Adam being buds than Victoria and Adam. Although Nikki and Adam being buds is like the best of all. That would be the ultimate coup. If Nikki and Adam just became super close, that would kill me. I would love it. Oh, Mark says, I loved the sibling exchange between Adam and Victoria today. Hopefully the writers will build their relationship. Victoria says, Victoria's brilliant smile melted the minute Adam stepped into the room. She hesitated to blast him with her cutting sarcasm, and I was hoping Victoria was warming up at least to a slow melt, but she's disappointed me with her disdain for Adam. And Naomi says, I noticed that too. I feel very protective of Victoria even when I don't agree with her. She and Phyllis have a certain vulnerability underneath the attitude. They will fight with fierceness and open their hearts to love deeply, and I find myself wrapped up in whatever is happening to them at the moment. Yeah, I think that it seemed like Victoria and Adam were maybe making some headway on the relationship, and Victoria did shut down very quickly, but I didn't take it as a total turning off. My interpretation of it was just that it's almost like you get so close to somebody, and then you're getting so close to a stove that's real hot, and it's so enticing, you know, it's so interesting because I mean Adam's different. I mean, Adam is a different brother than Nick is for Victoria, for instance, and Adam is a different type of person than Nikki has in the rest of her life, and you sort of are intrigued. I mean, he's intriguing, he's an interesting person to know, and you get so close to that hotness, and then you realize, wait a minute, I don't want to get burned. This guy does have a track record of some bad things under his belt. Of course, they all do, but no one remembers that. So I think maybe it was a little bit of getting close, a little bit of establishing that intimacy, only to realize, like, oh, wait, no, I can't. You know, but I don't think that necessarily precludes them doing it in the future. Oh, well, Ellen says, hey, Ashlyn, you can't call Victoria my beauty. That is reserved for John Abbott and Ashley. Do these Y&R writers know their Y&R history or not? Oh, I didn't even notice that, Ellen. Ashlyn called Victoria my beauty. I bet that drove everybody crazy. I don't know why I didn't hear it, but that's a good catch. So 2 weeks ago, I asked you guys, Adam versus Billy, pick one, and Adam won that vote in an absolute landslide. So this past week, I asked you guys, Billy or Victor, pick one. I was thinking maybe that might make a little bit more of an even vote, but no. Victor or Billy, pick one. 71% of you still picked Victor. It was a little closer though, 29% picking Billy. So when it's Adam versus Billy, Billy got like 10% of the vote. When it's Victor versus Billy, Billy got 29%. So that's a little bit of improvement. I don't know what Billy has to do to win a vote. I guess it's hard stacking him up against either of those major players. Jamie votes Victor. Always Victor. I'll be damned if Billy Boy gets my vote. And Ellen says, Victor Newman built this show from the ground up. I could never side with Billy Boy the punk over iconic Victor, despite Victor's many flaws. Billy is a sad, angry, floundering man-child. And Tina Cole also voted Victor, saying, first of all, he's Victor Newman. But I'm finding Billy's constant need to push things too far annoying. I think that's it, Tina Cole. I think it's that he does have kind of this constant need to be pushing forward. And it's a plot. I mean, it's because they're using Billy to push the plot. But I think that the writers need to do a little something to balance that out. Maybe get Billy a more balanced vote here. Keisha says, I choose Victor Newman 100%. Victor isn't exactly picking on Billy. For the most part, Billy doesn't even exist to Victor. But Billy continues to poke the bear. You get him riled up, the bear will attack. Victor and Nikki warned Billy to stay out of their business, but Billy kept coming. Billy Boy earned this payback. Well, here's an interesting comment from Tony. This is pretty good here. Tony says this pairing of Billy and Victor versus Billy and Adam is more balanced. Both Victor and Billy are equals. They both have verve, a passion, a debonair appearance. They each say, first and foremost, they do everything for their family, and we believe them. They are dedicated and honest unless they can slyly manipulate situations to their own gain. They're both ruthless. Their backgrounds are different, but each is a dark horse of their surroundings. They love women. They love their children. They are adversarial and justify their actions. Victor's old school, and in old school soaps got away with a lot. Billy could too, but new school soaps just don't play that way anymore. I'm in the Victor age group, but I see Billy and I smile every time. This casting has a lot to do with that. I did not think the current Billy-Adam comparison was even a comparison. The casting of this Adam and the constant trend in making him a good guy doesn't ring true. The former Adam casting, I know, he didn't work out as a staff/cast member, but he had that spark, that verve that matched well with this Victor and this Billy. He smoothed in and out of hate and loyalty and competition, but now we have this Adam. So last week I voted Billy, hands down. This week, the candidates are so evenly matched it might come down to what? There were no parameters, just Victor or Billy, you must choose, so I choose, oh gee, Billy! Finally, a Billy vote. Well done. Actually, Tony voted Billy both times, so well done. Yes. And Marianne V also picked Billy. I don't approve of his methods or his obsession with Victoria and Ashlyn, but I can't stand Victor. He won't stop until he decimates Billy and Chance come, and now he has Adam doing his bidding. Yeah. Well, Sue W., this is interesting, says, I don't see Billy as an underdog, but rather as a pot stirrer, outlier, whose a high opinion of himself is an act. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, because we were talking about that last week, too, about Billy kind of loving himself at the end of the day. But Sue W. says, I don't see him as an underdog, and I think his high opinion of himself is an act, one that he himself often buys into. I think he is forever haunted by his negligence that contributed to Delia's death, much more than any GC or chat judges can forever wag their fingers at. The mighty Victor loses my vote in this poll, although he may give lip service to the contrary. I don't think Victor is ever truly haunted by any of his past misdeeds. He simply deems his handling of the fallout as expert, dismissive absolution. Oh, yeah, that's good. Wow. Yeah, that's really digging into Billy's character there, too, that deep down he does dislike himself because he knows that he played an incredible role in Delia's death. Far more than we could ever judge him for. He's judging himself. That's good. Elaine voted Victor, saying, tyrant though he may be, almost everything he does is for the love of family. Billy is basically a spoiled, whiny, vindictive brat. Besides, Victor has some genuine power that he worked and scraped and sometimes schemed for. Billy is a wannabe. Oh, yeah. Gosh, those are a lot of really good comments there, you guys. I mean, really weighing in and really digging in on Billy is you guys are really good. Wow. Yeah, I like that. Well, let's switch gears a little bit here. Daisy says, Amanda let Sutton into her home. And even if she called the authorities, she's the one who was not letting him leave. So if the authorities listen to the tape, there's this damning evidence against Amanda, not Sutton. She clearly said the vendetta. She clearly said she had a vendetta against him. That's why she was testifying. I'll be surprised if Michael doesn't remove her from the witness list. I wonder if that's why he was calling her in the previews, I guess. But it's a soap. Anything could happen. Michael could wear a bunny costume in court, hop around the judge's desk, and no one would blink an eye. That would be funny. Yes, it would. I hadn't thought about it. I think so. Amanda retained the recording, so I guess that's not going to come up. But I didn't really think of it that way, that she would have incriminated herself. But it all means nothing because Michael could come into court in a bunny suit and hop around. I kind of like that fashion choice. Hey, on that note, let's talk about some fashion choices, the good and the bad. T. Nicole says, I just have to mention how much I loved the color of Lily's dress today. The rich red wine color / burgundy color looked gorgeous on her. And fun fact, that was my main wedding color. So I'm very biased. Oh, yes, red wine / burgundy. That is beautiful. And it's the perfect fall color, perfect for a fall wedding. I did notice that color of her dress, and it had a gorgeous shiny zipper running up the back of it. Yeah, Lily always looks spectacular. Oh, but Sue W. has some bad fashion choices, saying, is the Sally Spectra style catching on? Just when I say Sharon can do no wrong, what is with her saggy chartreuse sweater, weird crunchy skirt, and clashing brown suede go-go boots? Sharon is so lovely. So, of course, she pulled it off like she could in a burlap bag, but the vibe seemed more suited for Faith or that wet and wild fun Sally. And Nikki, really? A blue tiger print blouse and a bright blue full sequin skirt? Another Sally look. What's going on? And on another note, I am so over the off-kilter fall lilac. Jack's shirt, tie, and pocket square are the last straw. Shelve it till April. Wow. Okay, first of all, I totally agree. Whatever Sharon was wearing was a big what? I don't know what that was. It looked like a paper doll. She looked like she couldn't move in it. It was weird. And then Nikki, I liked the shiny blue sequin. I don't love the zebra print, but I loved the shiny dress or skirt that went with it. It was just so out of place at the coffee house, though. I think she was having coffee with Jack. I want to say it was Monday's episode, and she was just in this formal sequin skirt. And I'm like, wow, Nikki, you just walk around town in that on a Monday. And then the fall lilac, I didn't notice it on Jack, but that is kind of funny. We've crossed over. Yeah, lilac is typically a spring color, so it was strange that we're using it so much in fall, but you've had it. You say enough is enough. Shelve it till spring. The other thing we need to shelve until spring is, as Sue W. notes, the bouquet of tulips in Abby's house. Not too seasonal. No, I know that tulip display right behind, like right in the center of the Chancellor living room needed to be changed a long time ago. I've been noticing that for, honestly, I think it's probably been over a month. It's so shocking to see tulips in the fall, and it needs to stop because it really ruins my illusion here. I always have this, like, I know it's wrong, but in my mind, I love flowers. In my mind, all of the floral arrangements are real. And I know that there's just no way those tulips are real. That now I know they're plastic or probably a very good fake tulip. But now every time I see them, I'm like, oh, that just looks fake now to me, and I need it to stop. I need my floral realism to be maintained. Well, following up on last week, my revelation about my brand new Harlequin novel addiction, Sandra says, Allie, here's a little story you might find humorous. I had gotten laid off at one point years ago and gotten an interim job as a merchandiser for a book distributor. I would go into the grocery stores and department stores and fill the book department or book aisles and make orders, etc. All that to say, Harlequin books and all of the series associated with Harlequin novels would literally fly off the shelf the minute I put them out. There were some series that came out bi-weekly and some that were monthlies, and you better believe the readers knew exactly what day those books arrived at the store, and they'd be waiting in the book aisle for me to come fill up the shelves. They're addicting, Sandra. I've like since last week, I've already read 2 more. They're like 185-page novels, and I just will cut. Eat. I'm like, it's like eating a little piece of something. I just break off a piece of it, and I'll read it maybe like 20 or 30 minutes at a time. And it's just very concentrated. It's a very fast-paced type of story, and it's like you don't have to invest too far in it. Like I would pick up The Bold and the Beautiful right now if I could, because I think Bold and the Beautiful looks so interesting. I think Deacon's back on there. Sheila was back on there. I would love to watch Bold and the Beautiful again, but it's such a commitment. I just know I can't handle the commitment right now. I know I'll get into it and then I'll feel obligated to watch all the episodes, and I don't have that kind of time on top of the Y&R time. But just having a little romance novel, being able to pick it up and just pick it up and put it down whenever I want has just been really kind of a nice little break and escape, and I can totally see why the women were flocking to go get them. It is kind of addictive. Just like soaps. They're just so similar. I'm just shocked that I never really made that connection before. Well, let's end on this. Ellen says, I just have to thank you, Allie, again for your high-quality Y&R chat and website. Most of the other podcasts and sites out there seem to be all about bashing the CBS soaps in particular. There's no credit given for the works, the quality of the acting, the moment that rings true, the humor, the character development, anything that works. It's really grim out there, just lots of complaining and sarcasm and people who are very sure that they could write a far superior show so easily. I really appreciate that you and we can discuss all aspects of the show, good, bad, and silly, without dismissing the hard work and the talent on screen. So kudos to you, Allie, for maintaining such a balanced and good-natured perspective on our beloved and wacky Y&R. Well, first of all, thank you for the compliment. I really do appreciate that, but that's not why I mentioned this. I really wanted to focus on this comment because you're noticing that a lot of people are bashing the show right now. I wonder if that is something that's happening more right now. I think that bashing the show and the characters has always kind of been rampant amongst the fans. It's actually the exact reason that I started Y&R Chat, because I just wanted to have a conversation about the story and about the show. And I just wonder, you mentioning that makes me think, gosh, I wonder if it's gotten worse since I started Y&R Chat, because now, you mentioned podcasts that are dedicated to bashing soaps. I wonder if now that there's a podcast for every, topic under the sun, I wonder if that just adds to the noise and adds to the negativity, and people feel like they have to find something to be critical of. I don't know. I haven't listened to any other Y&R podcasts, but I was just also thinking that, unlike a Harlequin romance novel, Y&R also, we can't forget, has major network pressure. Y&R is not selling the story. They're not there to sell the story. They're there to sell advertising, right? So it's kind of a different beast altogether. And they're working with big bucks. Big bucks. I would love to know how much revenue Y&R generates on a yearly basis. This is a big budget thing, and there's a lot of factors that go into it that are probably pressure from a non-creative standpoint. And there's also this human factor too. Contracts, human resources, people not getting along, egos. It's like Y&R is our entertainment, but it's somebody else's job that they go to every day, it's totally blasé to him. But I almost kind of am just thinking about the soap bashing, and also thinking that there's also just kind of a stigma, I think, still toward soap watching or romance novels. You're somehow lesser than if what you're interested in is a soap or a romance or something like that. You're somehow seen as cheesy, whereas geeky interests, some geeky interests are now considered cool, and it's accepted. It's cool if you're into comic books or sci-fi. Those have been taken into very, very mainstream, and now it's very cool to like them, but it didn't used to be that way. Soaps are just still uncool though. A lot of the geeky stuff became cool. It's cool to be a geek, but somehow we got left behind, and soaps are still uncool. But I don't know. I, for one, am perfectly fine with it. Deep down, I'm kind of glad that soaps are uncool, that the thing I like is uncool, because I think if soaps re-exploded in popularity, then that might possibly ruin it, right? There'd be even more pressure and less creativity. And besides, I'd rather hang out in the clubhouse than the public forum at the end of the day, and that's what this is, the Y&R Chat Clubhouse. To get in, you have to bring a covered dish. Okay, everybody, that's that. I hope you had fun. I hope you had a good, fun conversation. That's the thing, too. It's in my heart of hearts, this is just who I am. I just genuinely want everybody to be happy. I really want everybody to be happy and have a good time, and it's 100% not a put on. That's really how I feel. I'm idealistic maybe to my own detriment, but I love Y&R. I found something that I really love, and I want other people to love it too. And that doesn't mean that I don't criticize it. I criticize it plenty, but at least it kind of comes to a place of love, and like, you don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You don't have to throw the bread baby out with the bathwater. You know, I mean, you can realize that some parts of it are good and some parts of it are not so good, but it's almost like a weird culture sometimes of like, you feel like you have to hate on something, or like maybe some people want to hate, maybe some people want to not like, or it just goes back to like, if you don't like something, why do you watch it? That's never rang true for me. If I didn't love Y&R, I wouldn't watch it. I don't understand the people who seem to hate it, hate everything about it, and then continue. Yeah, that's why I don't even believe whenever I see a comment of someone saying, if they don't do this, I'm gonna stop watching. I automatically just sort of disregard that, because I think, no, you won't. Threats to stop watching are just so ridiculous. It's like, it's just an empty threat. I always think, no, you won't. You're addicted and you know it. Whether you're addicted to loving it or hating it, I guess, you know you're going to be back. And I hope that you guys come back. YRChat.com is the website where you can leave all your wonderful comments, and then come back next Sunday and we'll chat about it all. November sweeps. I mean, are we there yet? We gotta be soon. Hey, maybe it will be a reveal that Chance is alive, and that's gonna be our big November sweep surprise. I'll be happy if that's what it is. I'll be happy. Anything except for Chance being a phone. I need Chance to stop being a recording device. That's all. That's my wish. That's my holiday wish. Okay, everybody. I love you guys. Have a good week, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye!